Hello, good evening, if you are new to the channel, kindly like, share, subscribe. Please do not forget to hit the notification bell. Mr. Chinedu Michael, we are seeing a recent development, a situation where we are seeing Nnamdi Kanu's date of judgment on the 20th, triggering global reaction. Because simultaneously, we are seeing US Congress saying they will be having open hearing on Nigeria alleged Christian genocide. It looks as if anything that happens to Nnamdi Kanu always triggers a global reaction. People are saying that it must not be mere coincidence that Nnamdi Kanu factor is involved.
Oh, definitely. Like from the era of resistance, when resistance began to see Mazi Nnamdi Kanu resisting and trying to reawaken the consciousness of many Nigerians, not only the Southeasterners, are on a planned, jihadist conquest that is coming, both politically and otherwise. This has taken another dimension to a point now where it has become very glaring. But unfortunately, a lot of people do not know that, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's ordeal was a prepared, plan to make sure that they're able to suppress that voice, from further exposure of the activities that is going on the ground in Nigeria. Like I used to say it very clearly, when they have succeeded in political conquest, it will be very easy to overrun the entire, Easterners, which is primarily, their target. But Nigerians do not believe that underground we are running an Islamic government, but they created, a democratic government, painting it a secular, agenda. But in the real thing, in background, behind it, is the push of Islamic government. And that is why you are seeing, when you see political movements from one place to another, these are the things Mazi Nnamdi Kanu exposed, and continue to carry out that exposure. But unfortunately, they now came together, plan whatever they want to plan. They first went to Finland, they compromised Finland, they went to Kenya. Unfortunately, you can see PL Lumumba, reacting that, the Kenyan government will be held consequences, will be held responsible if anything goes wrong in Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's trial. It has gathered a global dimension, but I can tell you, this Mazi Nnamdi Kanu now is being centered on, the symbol of the pyramid of Christianity in Nigeria. Apart from talking about succeeding from this contraction, unfortunate contraction that is already, we are running away from Islamic government anyway. But the question is that, why are we still experiencing this kind of jihadist activities in Nigeria? We are in some countries that practice Islam or whatever they practice, we'll see some level of development, liberalization, and civilization taking on those places. But in Nigeria here, what we experience is bloodshed, conquest, invasion, in all ramifications.
If you permit me to jump in here, Mr. Chinedu, because we understand that at some point, American government came out clearly to see that if they are to intervene in Nigeria, that they are coming under three categories, which they say under the heavy, medium, and light, and they are meant to have base in Gulf of Guinea. But speculation have it out there that they may be camping in Port Harcourt, and these are trigger reaction in Nigeria, a possible Biafra interest.
No. What I'm saying, what we should be looking at now, because if we bring that factor in, when the head of Department of War, the structure was set in place, and the guy made it very clearly, they are giving Donald Trump full options. And one of those options means the possibility of total disintegration of Nigeria, and the possibility of having a sort of military presence in Port Harcourt, because of a possible, because if those options are being applied at the end of the day, it will trigger an executive order from the United States government under Donald Trump, on mounting an order for, separation and disintegration of Nigeria, because the British government is already working with the United States government in that regard. There's already a plan there already. By November or May, thereabout, we are going to see a fresh statement coming from UK concerning Nigeria, and it's going to be in alliance with US decisions on Nigeria that we are seeing now. So don't think that United States of America is alone on this. The whole thing is going to come with, American allied forces and no force, including Asari Dokubo, FFK, Femi Fani-Kayode, Gumi, and Daniel Bwala, and the rest of them will be able to stand that force in that regard. So the Mazi Nnamdi Kanu case now, if case not taken, it can trigger another direction that the Nigerian government will not be comfortable with it. Especially now it's been speculated that the current presiding judge, Chief Omotosho, is being seen here and there, navigating from one post to another, trying to do an uncertain, things regarding November 20th, and forgetting that the Trump's delegates are already on ground and monitoring activities. Because if you look at it very well, Ted Cruz made it very clearly that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is the symbol of Christian persecution in Nigeria. And he represents the forces, of victimization, ethnic cleansing and extermination in Nigeria, and that is why he is still in DSS. And because I remember that Nnamdi Kanu wrote an official letter to Donald Trump, which was acknowledged by the 37 US lawmakers. So Mazi Nnamdi Kanu have become a phenomenon. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu have become a reference point both within and outside Nigeria. So anything that happens within his, his trial is being seen in different direction by the international community.
Mr. Ashine, let us take it from this angle as well, because a popular music star, Nicki Minaj, and the United States of America ambassador to UN, Mike Waz, is reported to be having intention to go and discuss Nigerian issue at the level of UN. I remember that Nnamdi Kanu have always envisaged this situation. Does it mean things fall in pleasant places for Biafra and the Nigerian issue being discussed as at the same time Nnamdi Kanu's trial is at the peak?
Unfortunately, I think Nigerian government should be regretting it by now. They didn't foresee it coming, or they didn't know that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is a folder, and he has unleashed his cannon, in different quarters currently now, and is ready to shoot anything down. He's already embarking on suicide mission already, by taking up the matter on himself to defend himself.
Talking about the self-defense.
Yes. So if you look at that, what is happening now, all these female musicians, a lot of them are Igbos. Like Nicki Minaj is an Igbo woman, Beyonce, Cardi B, name them, so many of them, they have come out. I'm talking about Rihanna. And these are the people who has come to identify the Igbo presence in America. Let me tell you, half of the blacks in America are Igbos. Black Americans who are predominantly and significantly doing well are Igbos, and you know what it means. The Igbo tribe is popular all over the world, in China, anywhere, name them. They are popular, they are productive, they are industrious people, and the world has come to identify with them. They are not terrorists, they don't have terrorist tendencies, and that is why that any IPOB member works freely anywhere in the world, and courtesy of the legacies of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. The first time he addressed the GOP members in Illinois in America, I think that was where he put some of these things very clearly to them, and it was properly actually documented. I remember Susie Wills, who happened to be the chief of staff to Donald Trump, was once worked for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu.
Talking about the lobbyists.
Yes. So if you see the entire structure, and that was why Mazi Nnamdi Kanu always talk about Donald Trump, the man like him. He referred to Donald Trump as a man like him, So based on that now, you can see the spread of the Biafran, solidarity, all over the world. The latest one is coming from the NATO chief, Jang, who made it very clearly that they have already presented, a clear-cut charter to Donald Trump to recognize Biafra as a nation.
Okay, now let us equally bring this angle, talking about more a U.S. lawmaker leading the investigation into the alleged Christian genocide in Nigeria. saying that the man Tinubu is in a difficult position. He went further to emphasize about the imprisonment of Mr. Jack from Nasarawa State. Of course, that guy that was sentenced to death while trying to defend himself against a Fulani person in Nigeria. What does it portend for the image of Nigeria and the Nigerian relationship with America going forward?
Nigeria runs an Islamic government. There's no two ways about it in disguise. We will not pretend over it, And Nigeria should also not pretend of the reality and the activities of sects in Nigeria and what they have been able to do. In every 10 Christian more than there's a one Muslim, and that's the statistics. In every 10 Christians killed, there is one Muslim. So if you look at the ratio very well, more Christians are being killed than Muslims, And from what we are seeing now, there is ongoing invasion and trial. So these things have been, properly, documented. And Rally Moore, of course, who is spearheading the investigation has this evidence, surrounding him now. But the fact is that it took Nigerian government, by surprise. One, Bola Ahmed Tinubu was not able to, muster in the diplomatic strength, know-how to be able to launder the image of Nigeria properly. And you can see him struggling to appoint ambassadors now. So it's automatically late on that because they didn't see it coming. It caught them unaware. And if they have acted based on the reality on ground and was able to look at the issue of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, because the US investigation will reveal why there was Mazi Nnamdi Kanu in the first place. Apart from Biafra, why was Mazi Nnamdi Kanu in the first place? There's a reason for that. And now we are also hearing that one of the officials of the United States government has already written official letter to the Finland government, Alexander Stubb, concerning Simon Eber, centered on this development that's building up within Bola Ahmed Tinubu's government. And there are a series of indictments, especially the recent video that's making waves online now, where the vice president was seen, having a beautiful dinner with, bandits,
But Mr. Chinedu Michael, if we bring the angle of a Catholic priest from Benue, talking about Wilfred, who before now himself went to the United States of America to present Christian genocide to American Congress. At the time, American Congress advised Donald Trump to take action against Nigeria. And as we have it, he's one of those that will testify before that public hearing scheduled for 20th of this month. Does it mean Nigeria is ambushed?
Definitely, I'm thoroughly well ambushed, and we should celebrate it. Honestly, I would say. But let me tell you, they should not put the narrative to be an Igbo thing. Igbos are also victims of the Fulani attack. Of the jihadist attack. Apart from the conquest, political conquest that's already going on. Championing. Look at nobody coming out to say and they should restrict Sharia to, they should not bring it to the eastern part of the country. So it tells you actually what is actually, going on. So if you look at what that man was actually doing, he's not the first person, but unfortunately, they didn't saw Donald Trump coming. Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Buhari, Amechi, and the rest of the APC cabal and Sadada, including Arebe Shola and all of them, they quickly ran to United States of America and tendered, a report against Jonathan that there is. They didn't even say it's a genocide. They say Christian genocide, and the America have the report. The report is there.
Okay, because of the angle you just brought in, because we have it, it's on record that if they are coming, they are looking at the issue that borders on like genocide you talk about, and this point you just made concerning the Christians in Plateau State in particular. Does it mean this man, Ezekiel, because before now nobody knew he have made so much video, but currently we are seeing so much video online to the point that he currently responded to Gumi, where he alleged that Christians in the north, particularly the Middle Belt, are burning empty coffee. You look at see that man is the man of the moment, Ezekiel.
Yes, I can tell you very clearly that he is the man of the moment currently now, and everything is being. I sworn an oath, that if he does not take up this issue, and anything happens to him, nobody should come for him. and that he has dedicated his life to this struggle. So it's not purely a middle belt thing anyway, and that's one of the reasons why the American government is taking it very seriously now that it looks like Bola Ahmed Tinubu seems to be confused. They will get to that point. But the fear is that they are bringing. America can decide to radicalize. Look at what they said. If you look at Trump, they decide to mount, the U.S. military presence in Asoro Rock, and nothing will happen because it's part of the American policy, to target terrorists anywhere in the world after 9/11. So it's part of their foreign policy. So anything regarding to that, is what they are going to do. The public hearing is formality. They have taken their decision. They have all the facts. They have all the information with them. But the problem is that, how are we going to manage this continuity of Nigeria as a nation? You can see the he met with Kestama a few months ago in an island privately where the issue of disintegration of Nigeria was discussed secretly, and Kestama aligned with it. So what is going to happen now? Since the British government said after 100 years we can go our separate ways, that is one. Two, what will happen to northern Christians and middle belt Christians if Nigeria break?
So what will be their fate?
That's what I'm saying. Are they going to remain there, or are they going to seek refuge elsewhere? So, and that is why the American government and all the allied forces in coalition, including Italy, Germany, and UK, is saying that the best option is to create a Christian nation where the northern Christians and the middle belt Christians can seek refuge. And that's when this man said that they are giving Donald Trump full options. And what are those full options? The full options includes pronouncement through executive order the state of Biafra as a sovereign nation.
But conclusively, will you, if you have your opportunity, advise the man Tinubu to go with the advice of Adeboye, talking about the General Overseer of the Redeemed Christian Church of God, who advised him to ask Trump for a 100 days window, wouldn't wish to address the insecurity, and that in his own position, he should give the service chiefs 90 days window to address it, and anyone that fails should be sacked.
They cannot address it because it has become an agenda. It has become relevant. Even the Sultan of Sokoto is also crying. A lot of them are crying. They don't want this thing to happen because of what they foresee and what they stand to gain at the end of the day. Bola Ahmed Tinubu will not be able to do anything. But if the heat becomes too much, he will throw in the towel and allow the Western leaders and powers to decide the fate of Nigeria. As simple as that.
So this is a situation where things will fall in pleasant places for Biafra, consequent upon what is happening.
Yes, the problem is that, before they get to that level, which is I know that is going to happen by May next year, definitely. I can go and mark it, it's going to happen where all the forces of the Western world and leaders and powers are going to sit together and take a certain decision. Now, they are busy now sending, trying to invite some people from the south part of the country for a proper alliance. That's why when you talk about the Igbo unification, they talk about Anioma. Some people who are saying they are Igbo, they are reawakening. They are this thing, so that they will be able to build a proper consciousness, and be able to form a certain block, eradicating whatever demarcation the Fulanis are created in the entire. The eastern part of the country is the only one that is divided into south and southeast. We didn't see that in Yoruba land. So there's a reason for that. So by the time they're able to build, get this thing properly, and every other ethnic nationality, minorities' interests are being factored in, then we can extend referendum to the people of Christians in the north and middle belt. And I can tell you from what they are saying, most of their leaders are saying already, Biafra is the only option and Biafra is the hope.
I think on this note, we can say a very big thank you for your time. It's a development story. We hope to have you next time on this platform to further this conversation. But for now, thank you for your time.
Thank you.